you enjoyed that little montage at the beginning there. I totally ripped that off from a guy named Jude Smith. I follow him on Instagram, and he did this little collaboration with a guy named Kurt Henderson and Shannon Lauren Callahan, I think. Anyway, I don't know a ton about the guy, but I think he's probably in his 20s. He looks like he's 13, but he's got like a really old soul. He's got a lot of groove and funk, and go check him out. I don't typically do a lot of actual guitar playing when I'm talking about guitar building or modifications or putting things together, and there are two main reasons, and then I'll stop jabbing. One of them is that it takes a lot of setup. You know, you got to think about what to play, and then you got to like figure out what guitar and then what effects and how you're going to record it, and then you got to mix it down and kind of master it for the video, and you got to sync it and all that stuff. The other thing is you got to play well, and I'm not one of those like stone cold people that like the cameras and the recording button turns on and I'm just fluid. Like honestly, I go through a lot of takes and I just flub it up. I just get a little tensed up when, you know, like there's pressure to perform and it's not like a relaxed atmosphere. So that's typically why you don't see me do a lot of playing in my videos, just because, and I'm being honest, it takes a lot more effort. But I came to the realization that if I do it in little chunks, I don't have to play like a whole song. I can just play like a riff or like a hook or something small. So I may try to incorporate more of that into these videos. Anyway, so this is the third video I'm doing in a series on a Telecaster. I'm putting together a parts caster, and it entails a road-worn Telecaster body with a custom neck. In my previous video, I talked about the Musikraft neck that I got, and I was totally happy with it except for one thing, and that was the walnut plug on the headstock. It's a minor thing, but it wasn't what I asked for. So anyway, I was able to fix it in a sort of unconventional manner, and I'll show you that in the later part of this video. Be sure to check out this Telecaster playlist and the previous video I did on the specifications for the Musikraft neck by clicking on this little eye up here in the corner. In that previous video, I realized it was getting too long, and so I split it up, and so now what you're gonna see is the latter half of that video that I split up, sort of part two. So let's cut to the chase and get to that now. So the only other things that I specified for this neck were in the notes section, where I said I wanted the thinner skunk stripe and I wanted this particular walnut plug. Now when I emailed Musikraft, they told me to put in the notes, you know, obviously the thinner skunk stripe. That's kind of a no-brainer. It's only one size and it's thinner, right? For the skunk stripe, they told me these exact words, which I put in, I copied and pasted basically in my notes section so that I would get exactly what I wanted, because that's what they said to do. And what I put in my notes is a tight vintage headstock scoop for a rounded walnut plug, which makes sense to me. So as I'm talking, I'm gonna show you me actually unboxing this Musikraft neck. And to my surprise, when I got it all unwrapped and I got it, you know, I could even see it through the plastic when I pulled it out. I could tell that the walnut plug was not what I wanted. It was definitely more teardrop shaped. It was elongated. I felt like it just went way up the neck, and it was a really big disappointment to me because it really didn't look anything like what I specified. I even sent pictures to Musikraft showing them exactly what I wanted, and I'll show you those pictures as well. It's basically a side-by-side comparison showing, hey, this is what I want and this is what your standard neck walnut plug looks like, and this is not what I want. So between emailing Musikraft and then putting the special notes into my order, I thought that I was going to get what I wanted. So when I realized that I wasn't going to be happy with this walnut plug, which was pretty much immediately, it was on a Friday when I got the neck, and by the time I thought about calling Musikraft, it was basically 6 o'clock their time in New Jersey. So I thought, what the heck, I'll try, why not? And so I called, and someone actually picked up the phone, and you know, they were very understanding. They kind of walked me through it, and they said, hey, send us pictures of what you're talking about and we'll see what we can do. Probably won't be able to get back to you until Monday, but you know, let us know what the issue is. So I immediately put together an email. I put in the pictures that I originally sent them. I put in some more pictures. I put in the pictures of the neck they sent me. And I tried to explain that, hey, this is not the walnut plug that I wanted. And now I realize that the walnut plug on a headstock of a guitar is a pretty small thing. But for some reason, the more I look at headstocks with a big walnut plug on it, or even the plastic plugs that you see on Squires, I just have an aversion to those types of truss rod plugs. They just stick out to me like a sore thumb. And because it was a custom neck, I wanted it customized. You know, I wanted it to be to my specifications. So Monday rolls around and I don't hear a response from Musikraft, and I think Tuesday I called them back and I said, hey, you know, I sent you this email. Have you had a chance to look into it? And so the guy on the phone was actually the same guy that I talked to on the previous Friday, and he kind of walked me through it. And what he explained to me was that in their shop, they had kind of gone away from that heavy scoop. I'll just go ahead and show you here with the neck that I've got. So he said that, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this, especially with this coat hanger in the way, but essentially as they drill into the neck this way for the truss rod, whatever they have to do for the truss rod, he said that they used to go pretty close up to the nut here, but then when they did that, they actually got some splitting near the nut of the neck. So I thought, well, that sounds reasonable, and I really don't want the neck of my guitar split near the nut. So, you know, it's like, what are my options? But at the same time, I'm like, well, they did it for years and years at Fender, and all these vintage ones are like that. And even the ones they make now that are like 50s Telecasters or reissues, things like that, they all have this type of walnut plug. So while I understand what Musikraft was saying and that they didn't want to damage the necks of their guitars, I really wasn't satisfied with their answer. So at that point I said, well, let me think about it. Can I send this neck back if I want to, if I decide that I just can't live with this walnut plug? And again, it just sounds silly, but you know, I ordered this neck and I paid a lot of money for it. Well, not a ton of money, but I paid good money for it. And so I thought I knew what I was getting, and I didn't get what I wanted to get. So the guy said, yeah, but there's going to be a 20% restocking fee. Plus, you know, you'll have to pay the shipping. So between the 20% restock fee, at least I think that's what it was, and the shipping, I was going to lose like $75 or something on this neck. So I thought, you know, that's pretty much my only option. But I got to thinking, and a guy at work and I kind of brainstormed, and we thought, you know, just maybe you might be able to sand back that walnut plug, and if you do it right, you can sort of get that scoop and get it to where you want. So as you can imagine, if I start sanding on this neck pretty heavily, I'm going to void the warranty, and I'm not going to be able to send it back at all. So I'm basically going back and forth. I'm thinking, what is out there that I can get that's not like this? I looked again at the road worn Tele necks. You know, they're 7¼ inch radius. I looked again at All Parts. They don't have a 1.65 inch nut. I looked at Warmoth. They don't have the fret size I want. Mighty Mite's the same thing. They have a huge, ugly black plastic plug at the top. And then there's B. Hefner, which I looked at, which gets really expensive for some reason when you start getting into some of the normal standard options. USA Custom Guitars doesn't offer a Fender headstock shape. They don't have the license for that. There's also, of course, the other style of Fender necks out there, but any of the ones that were 50 style Telecaster neck had the 7¼ inch radius. And the only other option out there was to try to wing it and get some neck off of eBay, which probably wasn't going to turn out well. So I got brave and I chose to try to sand back this walnut plug. And I'm going to show you some video of me doing that. And it actually turned out surprisingly well. I was able to get rid of the point of the walnut plug, and it turned out really great. And so I'm sharing that with you. I don't know that there's anybody out there that will be as particular about a walnut plug as I am. I'm pretty particular, but maybe it'll help you out. And if you want a blackguard Tele neck without paying an arm and a leg, there's not a lot of places to get one of these things, and Musikraft is a viable choice. But that being said, I'm not even sure that their blackguard Tele necks will have this walnut plug that is vintage correct. Because when I talked to the guy on the phone, I even said, can I send this neck back and get a blackguard Tele neck and, you know, do the upgrade? Will that ensure that I will get this walnut plug that I want? And he even said that there's no guarantee that you'll get that because the way we machine, we changed our machine process, and you know, we've moved where we do it, and so that often results in a more pointed plug. So let that be a warning to you purists. If you want a blackguard telly neck from Musikraft, you may not get the walnut plug that you want. But there is an option, and that is sanding it back yourself, which is not for the faint of heart, but again, I had good success and good results with it. Alright, that's all for this video. I will keep you up to date as I go along in the process of finishing up the neck and placing it on the body. And I did some fret work that I'll probably also tell you about. And I'll go through again all the processes on the neck with the finish of the nitro and the decal and all that good stuff. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. As always, we'll see you in the next video.